In this lesson, we're going to take a look at doing some product photography where we kind of change the lighting to bring out more dimension. Now, the standard lighting that we see in product photography is going to be the softbox because it gives us a large specular highlight, the source of the light itself reflected into the product, and it sort of balances it out the shot, fills in nicely. But a lot of times we want to mix a diffuse light and a raw light together to get us more dimension. Because again, we're trying to create shape. That's our key thing, is shape. So I've got a couple of purses set up. This is very typical. I've done a lot of purse catalogs over the years for department stores. And this would be a typical kind of thing where they would use these purses, they would drop them out against a clean white background. And I've got a purse in the front that's got some metal flake to it. If I just take a straightforward shot to start with, I've done a custom white balance to start with, so we already have the color set. And if I just took a straightforward shot, we can see here on the screen as that comes in that we don't have any of that, any fill here to show the gold. There's a lot of gold reflection stuff in here, the little gold flecks of gold. I have the purse's strap kind of nicely folded in here. That's more by taste. Of course, if you have a stylist, that's great. But a lot of times in these days, we have to do a lot of this ourselves. We're not in an era where the client will pay for somebody to come around and fix our straps. The good photographer needs to be a partial stylist and know how to have a little good taste, know how to arrange things on the set. It's about making things look good on the page. We're shooting with the 90mm tilt shift lens. I've got it neutraled out, sort of dead center. Let's first just take a look at what happens when we put the card in. I'm going to switch over to the live focus so we can see very easily as it changes, live viewing. Okay, so we've got tungsten. We can see just under the modeling lights, when I bring this card in, you should be able to see all those little gold flecks. That's an important selling feature on this particular purse. We've got to make sure that all the gold is reflected, because when you have anything metallic, you don't light the metal, you light what the metal sees. So in this case, the metal from this angle is hitting this and coming right back out here. Think about it being a mirror, and you want to reflect something back into that. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. I'll use this little mirror to hold it. And I'm going to bring it in as close as I can. And that's going to see right off the bat, it's going to bring in a much, much brighter image to the photograph. You can see right on the live focus that it's good. Now I can see here that my card is in the photograph. If it was a dropout, it wouldn't make a difference, but I act like there is no Photoshop. That's a key factor in product photography, or in really any kind of studio photography, is when you are shooting, act like there is no such thing as Photoshop. You don't ever want to say, oh, don't worry about that, we'll just fix that later. If it's something we can fix on the set, let's fix it on the set. Let's not be lazy and leave things in there and have, bad photographic paper and things that we're going to, we'll clean it up later. Have a clean set, shoot like there was before there was Photoshop. Get it right in the camera as much as possible, knowing that there are techniques in Photoshop to enhance it and make it better, but you want to get as much of that done in the camera so that we're not tied to so much post-processing on the shot. So I'm going to get out of my live viewing and get ready to shoot a photograph. Let's do one with and without real quick. We'll take one real quickly without the shot, and then without the card, and then we'll put this back in here and do another one here. You can see how very, very dull, and we'll shoot that again. And we should have a new photograph here. Yeah, there's our new photograph, and we can see with the white card in there, we're getting a lot of nice specularity in there. But it's not as lively as it could be. So let's liven it up a little bit. Let's change our lighting. I'm going to go ahead and drop off the softbox off our strobe light. And we're going to go ahead and put a regular reflector on here. And I'm going to just sort of aim it down and give myself nice, really, really hard shadows. So there are very hard shadows, but at the same time, we're getting a lot of texture in this photograph. We're getting a lot more sort of left to right lighting. Of course, we have our height, we have our width. It's up to us to create the depth. The lighting is creating the depth for us. So I'll go ahead and photograph that. We should see a pretty good dramatic change in that shot from the soft light to the hard light. And there it is. Now we've boosted our exposure. It's a little brighter. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and open that up real quickly into Photoshop. I'll do a Command R on that image right from the bridge, Control R on the PC. Actually, I have to select it, and then I'll do Control R. And we'll see it in the bridge here. And I can see by the histogram that we are a little too bright. If I move into some of these areas up here, I can see that the metal area, the metallic area, is a little too crispy up here. And I want to make sure I'm holding detail in here. So I feel like by looking at that histogram, plus the fact that there's nothing down the bottom fourth of the image, without touching anything to do with any of my sliders yet, I want to go ahead and drop that exposure down. So I'll come to the camera, and we'll go ahead and we're at F18. I'm going to stop down 2/3 of a stop. So this will be a little bit darker image. Let's get out of the camera raw. I'll go ahead and cancel that. We go back to our image here. And let's take a look at the new image coming in at 22. And this is the new image here. A little deeper. You can see how there's a little bit more richness to the overall photograph. We're getting some really good hard shadows, and when you crop that down inside a white page, that looks really good. Now, you have to always talk to the client to find out if this is the kind of lighting they're looking for. So doing a few test shots like this before the actual project comes along and giving them the choice and saying this is what it looks like this way with a soft light, with a hard light, and by the way, I could do this and this and this. By showing them that in the front end, we're going to have a lot less redos. Now, photographers only make money when we do things right the first time. We don't make money by getting them to pay for it 3 or 4 times by doing it over. All we do is get angry clients. So let's get it right on the first shot. Let the client feel like we are giving them the most options on their lighting. If I feel like I'm not quite getting enough along the way, if I would have to sometimes, I might have to come in and bring a card right into the photograph to a certain area to light it up. Might be down here, might be actually in the photograph if I needed to be. If we were not on a white set, if we were on a very dark set, we might have to lay white paper out in front of it to get more reflection in there. But this just gives us some options in the shooting between the fused light and hard light, especially the hard light gives a more contrast and more kick to the whole photograph, gives your clients a few extra options.